Welcome back, everyone. This is still Politics Tonight. Tonight, we continue to get insight and more perspective into resolving River State political crisis. And joining me for this discussion tonight is a development analyst, Jacob Pele. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Pele. Good to see you.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you and your viewers, and Happy New Year in advance.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Now, let's talk Rivers politics as peace is gradually returning to that state, about a month crisis. How will you describe the situation of things now?
Let's start with the cheering news of the coming back of the refinery, which is a huge plus to the government when eventually that refinery begin to produce. That's a good thing and it's like a Christmas gift to the people of River State and to Nigeria in general. I think if you look at the average Rivers man, we are peaceful people. We are law-abiding people, except when you touch us on issues that has to do with our rights. We will stand up and fight for our rights in the most peaceful way. And so I am glad that the people are going about their duties and pursuing their business in a much more peaceful way. And that's the usual attitude and behavior of a typical Rivers man. However, we are aware of the issues surrounding the political situation in River State, and we commend the effort that the president is taking. But I also think that there was some aspect of that decision that he was misguided. And in the course of this program, we will talk about it. I believe that he means well, and that's what any father of a nation should do, by making sure he finds solution to a crisis issue. But I believe that he was totally misguided in some of the decision that doesn't go well with me, in my personal opinion, and several people that I have talked to, including some of the people that were in the meeting.
Right, so we'll get there in the course of the program. But this tussle started in October and went on, but it took the intervention of the president for the deadlock to be broken. Why did it get to that level?
Exactly, Jumoke, that's a question that all the people involved should answer, because it shouldn't have lingered on and on and on, because they caused the problem, they had the solution, but they just wanted to keep fermenting the problem and creating crises that there was no reason for it. There was absolutely no reason for it. Otherwise, the question will be, what is going on between the present governor and the former governor? What is it that both of them are dragging? And I think they owe it a duty to every one of us to tell us what the issues were. And as we speak, these issues has thrown the state into a constitutional crisis. It's not going to be a political crisis, because the average Rivers man is a law-abiding citizen of this country. We don't like trouble, and there's not going to be any problem eventually. We will listen to voice of reasoning. We will take it as it comes. But I also know, and I can speak authentically, that there's a hand of God in all of this, and he will do that which he only him can do. And no one, not any of them, should try to play the God that they try to play, because it doesn't take us anywhere. So it is time for everyone to toe the line of peace and allow peace to reign.
Right. Dr. Pele, let's now talk about the resolutions, 8 in number. And I mean, for the past few days, there have been a lot of reactions, which shows that some people are not satisfied with the resolution. How fair do you consider this points of resolution?
Very unfair, Olajimoku, very unfair, because I've always said it and I keep saying it. This president means well, except when he is misguided. The resolution, even though from the feelers and from what is making rounds, I understand that the governor had taken it, but there are many people that have not endorsed these decisions because it's Olajimoke in a short, succinct way. There were a lot of provisions in that decisions that were very unconstitutional and undemocratic. And I know the president, as much as possible, that he is a Democrat. And some of the decisions that were handed over to him, I don't believe that he saw to every line of that decision. Some of them were very undemocratic and unconstitutional because, let's face it, these lawmakers, are taking us for a ride. They left the party that they shouldn't have left, knowing the implication of the 1999 Constitution, Section 109, subsection 1G. It's clear. There's no ambiguity. An elementary child will understand the implication of that provision. And they have not been able to come out to say, okay, we left because there were crises in PDP. That's a good reason for them to abandon the party that brought them to power. There are very amicable way of resolving issues like this. If they had taken a smart decision at the time they took that decision, it would be even easier for them to go to court and get a court injunction to say that we don't like what is going on in our party. As such, we are cross-carpeting. They didn't do that. They just woke up, didn't think well, didn't look at the lenses of the law, and took a decision that is gradually plunging the state into a constitutional crisis. I repeat, I'm choosing my word tonight. It's not going to be a crisis of the people trying to break the law. The average Rivers man will not break the law. And I'm using this opportunity to emphasize that we don't want any form of anarchy. That is what these enemies of democracy wanted, and we will not give it to them. I am an indigene of the state. I will do everything within my own power, as little as I have, to ensure that nobody will take advantage of this and create and ferment problem for the state, because a problem for Rivers State is a problem for Nigeria, and we will not allow that.
Right. Right. So how do you now think the issue of the lawmakers should be resolved?
Well, they created the problem, they should solve it. The only way out, and I have consulted a lot of legal luminaries, who have presented their position, is clear. Two ways: go to court, get the court to interpret Section 109, subsection G. Get the court to interpret that, if you can. This other way is for INEC to conduct fresh election, period. It's laughable, to be honest with you, to say that they should going back to the State Assembly as APC members. It doesn't make constitutional sense. It doesn't even make political sense. It does not. And the president that I know was simply, if I use the word, hoodwinked into this kind of decision.
Dr. Pele, let's get this. Let's get this. A resolution has been made or has been reached. Why then do you think they should resort to the court again?
Because it's unconstitutional. Because as long as the status quo remain the way it is, okay, anything they do in that assembly is illegal. I don't need to be a lawyer to know that. I don't need an IQ of a mushroom to know that. If you cannot upturn illegality with illegality. And I'm saying this because I know the heart of this president. I know he means well. He may have his shortcomings, like every other
leader.
So
let's put this into proper perspective.
In terms of leading this country and giving this country the pride of place, I think he means well. Right. And nobody should upturn that.
Right. So let's put this into proper perspective. What aspect of your action is illegal for you?
The unconstitutional way the lawmakers left for another party without proper guidance. They didn't seek legal opinion. They didn't seek proper clarification. I challenge them. Let them come on your show with their own lawyer to give us and guide us with truth and proper interpretation of the law. Jumoke, I'll be more than happy to give you not at least 10 different sons who are friends who will be willing to come to your show and give proper perspective and interpretation of that law. I guarantee you that if you want me to do that, I can name reliable non-partisans. Don't forget, Jumoke, whether anybody who is watching this likes it or not, I am strictly apolitical. I am. I don't belong to APC. I don't belong to PDP. I will never be. Quote me any day. Let anybody record this. I'm not interested in politics. I don't hate politicians. I just hate crooked politicians. And so for this country, all of us are fighting for democracy and democratic values. And any Democrat, the antecedent of this president, as a Democrat, this man made huge sacrifice for democracy to be what it is today. And nobody should go behind and wants to do things that will rubbish everything that he's trying to do.
All right.
Don't forget, I'm not here. I know that he is not perfect, just like I am not perfect, okay? But let's not create unnecessary crises where there is none.
Right. So talking about not creating unnecessary crisis where there is none, before the president's intervention, we all wanted peace. We wanted, a lot of persons were clamoring for the president to intervene. And now resolutions have been reached. The governor, who is very involved in this crisis, has said no price is too big to pay for peace in Rivers State. Why then do we still have loud voices with so many reactions to this issue?
What the governor says is both his personal opinion and his opinion as the governor of the state. Nobody will take that from him, okay? What we are saying is what the Constitution says. The Constitution is supreme, takes precedence over and above the interests of the governor, including the president. Jumoke, that's what it is. Both of them swore an oath. And they swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. Don't forget, let's go down memory lane. It's almost a similar thing of what happened to the current president. And the current president stood his ground. He was defending democracy. He was defending the Constitution. Everybody rallied around him. Everybody gave him a thumbs up. He persisted. And Lagos eventually won. And then he was a hero of democracy. Now, the man is making efforts to prove everybody wrong and become a hero of democracy, and somebody wants to zero everything that he has done. You know, it shouldn't be. Let's be honest. Well, right. I mean, the governor has he has accepted, according to him, what the issues are. That does not change the fact that we need to interrogate if the Constitution has been violated.
Right. So others have argued.
Case, yeah.
Others have argued that the agreement is not binding on anyone, hence may be broken. Do you support this?
Well, Jumoke, if I can hear you well, you said grievance is not. If you can repeat that question.
Others have said that the agreement is not binding on anyone. So I'm asking, do you support this?
The agreement, look, a typical reverse person.
Dr. Pele. All right, tonight we're focused on Rivers State's political crisis and the resolutions that have been reached. And I've been speaking with a policy development analyst, Dr. Jacob.
He's not saying, he's not saying otherwise. But we are looking at the issues from the lens of the Constitution. Otherwise, this will become a precedent. It will become something that somebody will wake up another day and say, oh, it happened during Siminalai and Wike and the president, so the same thing should repeat itself.
All right. Dr. Pele, we lost you for a minute. We lost you for some seconds, so let me repeat that question. My question was, others have argued that the agreement is not binding on anyone, hence may be broken. So I'm asking, do you support this?
I don't. I don't support that people should break. Why would you sign an agreement with one who will break it? That is not integrity. I don't support. If he has agreed that he's going to stick to what is agreed, that's his decision, and he should be respected by that for that decision, you know, and he should stick to that decision. But that does not mean that everybody will agree with it. That's not democracy. We have to sometimes agree to disagree. And in this context, it's not a question of argument. It's a question of the point of law. Two things count, okay? Legality and morality. Legality and morality, you know? And on both count, those who are commenting on it wins. Legally, it is not right. Morally, it is not right. But have they accepted it? The governor has accepted it, fine. Let him run with it. But however, that does not make it right. That's the truth.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. So we've also seen that the lawmakers have commenced the process by withdrawing the impeachment notice against Governor Fubara before going on a recess. So what do you think is the next step towards lasting peace in Rivers State?
First, they should have told us why they started the impeachment in the first place. If they are withdrawing it by directive, okay, there's also a possibility there was no reason for that impeachment. However, that's also a good thing, because if you follow the wrong path and you decided to right your wrong.
Dr. Pele, the lawmakers gave a reason, and it was as a result of gross misconduct on the part of the governor.
Well, Jumoke, you know politicians, gross misconduct can be interpreted in several ways, and in several ways that does not make it right. I am not there with them, okay? I don't attend their meetings, okay? So I don't know what gross misconduct amounts to or is summed to. So I leave it there. However, these, like I said, these crises shouldn't have been there in the first place. We have a state that, you know, that is peaceful, that is running, that was given to the president. The state voted him. There is no need for this anarchy, for this showmanship. There was no need for it whatsoever, except personal interest. And wherever personal interest rises far and above the interest of the people, there will be resistance. So I don't know what the reasons were. Gross misconduct is a huge and a very serious word, and it can be broken into several parts and components, But thank God they've retracted, in the interest of peace. Let's toe that line. But that does not make their action right, In the first place, if they had thought through the process, if they had looked at the law, what the law and the implication, don't forget, Jumoke, this is not just a constitutional matter. It's also electoral act matter. On both counts, their action totally, absolutely is an aberration of both the 1999 Constitution and the Electoral Act. That's what it is.
All right, then. So let's talk about one key aspect of that resolution, which is the representation of the budget to the House. What do you make of this?
Again, you see, this whole thing is like a complicated process. It's a complicated relationship, when they left, there was a very small number of them that constituted. But the truth is that they are actually on the side of the law, okay? Because people have raised issues like, oh, how can 4 people and all that? But don't forget that these other people have left, supported by the Constitution. My thing is, which of them or their lawyers have been able to come up publicly to say we did not violate the law and followed it to a legal conclusion? None. As far as I'm concerned, none. If they know that what they did was absolutely right and legal, then let them come into the court of public opinion and change the narrative. But however, this budget has been presented, and the governor of the state, with his executive power and pen, has signed this budget into law. As far as I'm concerned, that is it. Now, this issue of representation, and they said in the interest of peace, and I keep saying this, you cannot obtain peace by just appeasing people and appeasing personal interest. They will never be satisfied. That's the truth. They will never be satisfied. They will come back and ask for a pound of flesh. And so going back and asking the governor to represent the budget and all that, again, if he agreed, he should stick to it. And we can leave him to it. It doesn't really matter, But again, that does not make it right. That's another issue. It has another legal implication. So there's a whole lot of problem that this thing has created. But
all right.
I'm not a pessimist. Okay, I'm always looking for solution. What's the solution? The solution is simple. The courts can write this if we have a good point of law. A fresh election can also correct this if that's the way to go. But again, the president, as a father of the nation, look, the true leader and the leadership that I know, the little that I know about Bola Tinubu, I'm not that close to him. I think he's one person that is humble enough to admit that he's wrong, and he will correct the wrong. And that's what true leadership is all about. You know, if I'm in his shoes, I will take a second look at all these decisions and see the proper way to handle it and get a satisfactory decision that is acceptable to all parties concerned. Now, I did
when
my
you
own
say, Dr. Pele, can you hold on a bit? When you say satisfactory to all parties involved, who are those parties you're talking about? Because, I mean, it's fundamental to remember that this agreement was reached by all parties and signed by all of these parties. So who are these other parties you're talking about?
No, Jumoke, my dear, you know, one thing I doff my heart for your station, you know, you're objective. All right? If you're not, you couldn't bring somebody like me. You're very objective. And that's why I try to analyze my issues objectively. Okay? Now, there are people who attended that meeting that are coming out now to speak and says that they didn't, you know, I made a statement in one interview, and I said, you can be in the room and not have a voice. And today they are crying out that, yes, I was in the room, but I was not allowed to say anything, you know. And there are also people in that room that did not sign that. They refused to put their pen to the paper. They refused to sign the agreement, you know. And it's there in the open, you know. But however, like I said, the principal person is the governor and the people concerned. If those individuals who are the main people in the center of the issues, if both of them or three of them or four of them have agreed that this is the way to go, you know, I don't believe that anybody should break an agreement that you have agreed. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I need to say that we heard, or the report we got was that that meeting lasted for 3 hours and everyone in that room were allowed to contribute their own quota. But then the State Commissioner for Information has said Governor Fubara will implement the agreement. How confident are you that he will fulfill his own side of the bargain?
Like I said, I haven't met him in person. Secondly, he's probably a younger person, you know. I mean, I'm 62. I don't think he's 62, you know. From his antecedents, from his body language, from the fact that there are certain people that he has been able to put up with, even till this day, you will see that that young man is a humble person. He is honest and truthful, and he wants to serve. He wants to serve. So if he says he will, if he append his signature to that agreement, I think he will abide by it. You know, he will. But it's going to be a tough road to travel for some dissenting voices, even like myself. It's not acceptable to me. And that's, I mean, I may not matter because I'm not a politician. I won't contribute to what they say that in the State Assembly, but I am an indigene of Rivers, a bona fide indigene of Rivers State. And I have a say, and that's why I'm lending my voice.
All right, Dr. Pele, let's take a break. And when we come back, we will look at other angles in this matter. Tonight, I've been speaking with a policy development analyst, J.K. Pele. We'll go on a break now, and I'll be right back.
Experience information and entertainment like never before as TVC Breakfast takes your weekends to a whole new level. Introducing TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, your ultimate source of thrilling sports updates, insightful political analysis, and captivating entertainment news. Stay in the know with what's trending, catch up with the latest in sports, and immerse yourself in the latest buzz from the world of music and movies. Your weekends are no longer just days off, but moments packed with knowledge, excitement, and enjoyment. TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition only on TVC News.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the best reporters on the field.
Taking you through as it happened.
It's fast-paced, hard-hitting,
With investigations that matter.
bringing in news that affects your life.
With sport, entertainment, and business news, so you don't miss a thing.
Experience resourceful coverage with depth.
Every night.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight, we get more insight and more perspectives into resolving River State political crisis. And I've been speaking with a policy development analyst, Dr. Jake Epele. Dr. Epele, thank you so much for staying with us. Now, let's quickly delve into other national issues and precisely about River State. River State is central to revenue generation in the country. How critical or strategic is this revival of the refinery for the economic revival of the country?
Excellent. You know, I started with that sharing news, and you know, and one of the dividends, the good work of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I mean, that there's many past government had tried to revive the refinery, and they couldn't. And he is blessed to be the president that had gone the extent that he has taken the stride. And hopefully before the new year, or at the beginning of the new year, we will have the refinery will start producing again, which is a very cheering news. And of course, it will revive economic activities in River State. When the refinery is working, a lot of people will flock into that state, especially those who are dealing with petroleum products. So it's a very good thing and a positive development and a high score for the president. And I can assure you, and assurance double sure, that the people of River State welcomes this development with a very open arms, and we will make sure that we will contribute our quota to make sure that the entire country will benefit from this good gesture. So it's a good thing, and that's how God works. Sometimes you find a bad situation will produce a good, will eventually produce a good and cheering news. What the enemy meant for evil, God has a way of turning it around for good.
All right, so now that the PH refinery is working, how confident are you that other refineries will recommence operations soon? And how critical is it for Nigeria to have all of its refineries working?
Absolutely. I mean, what has worked, you see, success principle is the same everywhere. Whatever measure, whatever strategy, whatever equipment, and whoever was contracted to do this, and they deliver, and it is working, it is productive in a consistent manner, not just one-off. Then let them take the same principles, if possible, the same contractor, to other refineries. They will be able to do the same thing that they have done in Port Harcourt Refinery. But let us see it on stream. It's very important. Let it not be a political statement. Let's ensure that we keep to the timeline, keep our words, and, let's see the first petroleum product being pumped out of that refinery. It's a welcome development for the state. And I think it's also complementary, because this is the state that started giving the country the oil resources that the country is thriving on today. So it's a good thing that the first restoration or revival started in this very place where the first refinery also started. So it's a good development, something that is very cheering, and we applaud the president. And Jumoke, this is who I am. If you do well, I will say you're doing well. If you're not doing well, I'll say you're not doing well. Capital,
So let me also have your take on this very disturbing issue. And I'd like you to be very assertive on what exactly needs to be done in this regard. And most governors are not distributing palliatives as required. What do you think needs to be done in this regard?
Jumoke, you are staring me now. Okay. So, I was one of the first people that kicked against giving this palliative to governors. Some of them are my friends. They may not like what I'm saying, but it's the truth, And I think they should be held accountable. Let them come out and account for everything. Sorry about that, my son. Let them come out and account for everything that they were giving to ensure that at the end of the day, to ensure that at the end of the day, you know, they are accountable to what they are giving, and for them to show us proof who have received this palliative. You know, one of the things that amazed me was when they came out, you know, and spoke all the grammar to say that, hey, they have trusted data. Meanwhile, the data they said, and they said that of the federal government data invariably lacks integrity, invariably. Meanwhile, the data they said they have were given to them by Ministry of Humanitarian and Bureau of Statistics, which is a federal government organ. Now, Jumoke, that did not make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me, okay? And I know some of these state government, you know, many of them have the resources, but they will not invest in mining data, especially of the vulnerable group. So how come you're now saying you have your data is trusted, you know, your data has all the integrity and all that, and you'll be able to implement? Let them, I challenge them, let them publish who have received what from them. Who have received what from them, you know, and I'm surprised that not too many of them will be able to account for what was given to them, period.
All right.
There are some that can, and there are some that have actually taken the giant stride, you know, by reaching out, especially to my community, the most vulnerable in the society, you know. There are some of them that have done well, you know, and those that have done that are those that have an inclusive implementation team, inclusive of persons with disability, you know, and they've been able to distribute the palliatives and, you know, do the cash transfer effectively, you know, and that's it. But many of them have not been able to do, you know, and I'm looking forward to one day the president calling every one of them to account for what they were giving.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, let's quickly get back to Rivers State and how the PDP has reacted to this tussle. The PDP has come out to say there's no remedy yet for the lawmakers who defected to APC. How do you view that comment by the opposition party? And how come the PDP didn't show up in this whole matter but described the president's intervention as illegal? Would you also say that the PDP is a weak opposition party?
Well, I'm not a member of PDP, and I don't intend to be one, and I'll never be one. Neither am I APC. I don't intend to be one. I will never be one. I am strictly apolitical, you know. But, however, this is the way politicians do things. Sometimes their response is too slow, that when they begin to respond, their response becomes meaningless, you know. When all these crises were brewing, you know, and I have good friends in PDP just like I have good friends in APC, you know, nobody spoke up, nobody stood up. Why would you wait when it becomes too late or when the situation has become a crisis situation, and then you wait and then you want to ride on the wave of crisis? It's not acceptable. You know, I think they responded too late, too little, too late. However, I think it was Martin Luther who said, the time is always right to do what is right, you know. So let them interrogate the issue, stand on the side of law, and defend the integrity of their the rule that guides them, and ultimately the Constitution.
All right, Dr. Pele. As we wrap up tonight.
But just let me make one last point.
All right.
I want to also use this channel to say, whether you're PDP or APC, nobody, not one person, have any right to create crisis in this lovely state. God has blessed us, and very soon our refinery is running. We don't want any form of crisis. The average Rivers man resolve his or her issues in an amicable way. So whether you're a youth, you're in the creek, or you're in the street of Port Harcourt, don't accept from any politician, both sides, don't accept anybody to push you to breaking the law. You have no right to break the law. You cannot solve illegality with illegality. Period.
All right then. So as we wrap up tonight, let me get your comments on the president's latest intervention. In the spirit of Christmas celebration, the president has slashed the transportation fare by 50%. What do you say to that?
Excellent. You know, listen, my dear, this is one thing about Bola Tinubu. Bola Tinubu truly have a heart of compassion. You can't take that away from him. You know, and I'm speaking from the point of knowledge of people he has helped. He has a heart of compassion, you know, and so I'm not surprised, okay? But I'm also looking forward to seeing him go to church and celebrate with us, just like this Kaduna State government did, governor did. Go to church and celebrate. After all, your wife is a Christian. Go to church and celebrate with us, Mr. President. You're the president of Christians. You're the president of Muslims. So go to church and celebrate with us.
Right. I'm sure the president has heard you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've been speaking with a policy development analyst, Dr. J. Kepele. Tonight, we discussed resolving River State political crisis. Thank you so much, Dr. Pele. And Merry Christmas in advance. Thank you.
Jumoke, I appreciate you and I appreciate your station. You know, Babajide, a good friend of mine, thank you for standing for what is right. Thank you for being the journalist that you are. God bless you and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pele. God bless you too. Good night. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. See you tomorrow.
In on the action with Betano, your exciting destination for sports betting. Enjoy an award-winning experience with amazing betting options, cash outs and missions, as well as other features. Join now and get a welcome bonus of up to 200,000 Naira. Betano.ng, the game starts now.
Roll up, roll up. Let's go. Welcome to DSTV Land. The most awesome